sin, we left in bondage, we received the gift of baptism and entered into covenant. God providing us with what will preserve us forever, so we must live it. And the best way we express our way of life is worship. That's why worship is so important, to do it as the church gives it to us. No priest, no whatever has any authority to change worship, to change liturgy any way they want, because it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to God and His church. And so, do this encompasses the way the liturgy should be celebrated. It's not how I think, oh, I saw this in California, it sounded good, so we're going to do it. It sounded good. Is it good? Is it prescribed? Remember what he said about rites last week? A rite is an approved practice in the administration of sacrifice. So it must be approved. Not everyone doing their own thing. So God speaks to His people and makes known His will in the 10 Commandments. Made known His will. By His instructions, we know His will. So that's why we cannot say, I'm doing God's will, when at the same time, I am contradicting the Word of God. Because His Word is His will. That's how He communicates His will to us. So in the 10 Commandments, and through the mediation of Moses, makes a new covenant with them. Through the mediation of Moses, that is so key. God speaks, the Father, like here it's the Father, through the mediation. The Father ultimately will speak through the mediation of the new Moses, Jesus Christ. So just as Moses went up the mountain and received the 10 Commandments, you have the will of God, so Jesus, the new Moses, will go to the plain, which we call the Sermon on the Mount, and give us the fullest expression of the law, the Torah. So the new Moses teaching. So it's through the mediation of the new Moses that God enters into the new covenant with us. So Jesus Christ is the mediator between God and man. Okay, that's the entire project of the letter of the Hebrews. Okay? So all the things we're looking at here, basically were preparations for the fullness of liturgical action, the fullness of giving glory to God with our lives. So in this covenant relationship is concretized in a regulated form of worship. In other words, worship must be incarnate. It's incarnational. It's incarnate. And it is regulated. So Jesus gave the apostles the gift of liturgy. Do this. He didn't tell them, okay, go along, whatever you see fit and which sounds good to you, go ahead and do it. Do this. What I have done, you must do. Liturgy must be regulated. Okay? As we saw here, the covenant is given, Torah is given. Torah is an instruction by God, which means it binds us, because it is God instructing humans. Okay? So in this covenant relationship is concretized in a regulated form of worship. So in this way, the purpose of the wandering in the desert, as explained to Pharaoh, is fulfilled. We are going to the desert to worship God. And we don't know with which we will worship Him, because He is the one to give us instructions. Okay, not the other way around. So Israel learns how to worship God in the way He Himself desires. We worship God the way God reveals worship to us, the way He desires, because He created us to glorify Him and He knows how we should glorify Him. We don't until it is revealed to us. So, cult, liturgy, in the proper sense, is part of this worship, but as too is life according to the will of God. So cult, in the modern sense, it's like a bad word. When we talk about cult, we think of decoration, things like that. But the word cult means worship. That's why you see in our liturgical language, the language of worship, we say the cult of the saints, the cult of Mary, meaning worship. Okay? So that's the meaning of that word.
So then what does occult mean?
Pardon?
If cult means worship, then an occult means...
No, that's a different word altogether.
That's not tied to that?
No, that's not a cult. Occult is something very different. Okay? It's a manipulation of thinking that one can manipulate spiritual powers. Okay? Yes. But this cult is just the word means worship, liturgy, liturgical action. So cult, liturgy in the proper sense, is part of this worship, but so too is life according to the will of God. So meaning that you cannot receive covenant relationship, you cannot receive Torah, and then Torah and covenant not being expressed as a way of life, because it is a way of life. That's why when you notice when Jesus Christ gives to us the fullest expression of covenant life with our God, the new covenant, He gives it to us in a way of life. Matthew 5, 6, 7 is explaining the way of a Christ-like way of life. The way of covenant life. Happy are the merciful. Okay? Happy are the clean of heart, blessed. And the real word is happy. So, you cannot basically talk about covenant and not talk about the way of life. But this way of life is according to God's will. In other words, God reveals to us our way of life with Him and in Him. So the Christian way of life is revealed. So whenever we talk about faith, we talk about morals. Because faith is lived. Faith is expressed. Faith is not just the mental knowledge, but it is a way of life. So we cannot separate faith from the way of life, morals. Okay? And this is not something very serious. There is a priest in the church today. He's not just a priest, he's a bishop. And more so, he's also a cardinal. Okay? Who has a way of going around teaching people whatever the purpose is, whatever the goal is, whatever the intention is, concerning faith and morals. Faith and morals. We're not talking about cosmology, okay? Or eschatology, whatever that is. Okay? We are talking about faith and morals. And this man stood before people and declared that, well, we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. So we have to listen to people and even bring ideas together so that we arrive at
consensus.
Basically faith and morals by way of consensus. Do we have all the answers?
Yes.
Really? Do we have all the answers?
Yes.
All that we're meant to have.
Do we, please answer me. Do we have all the answers?
Yes.
Where?
No, we don't have all the answers.
Well, we have the answer, you just don't have
Do we have all the answers?
Yes.
The ones that are necessary, yes, Father, the ones that are necessary for our salvation, and that's our goal.
No, I like that one. That's good.
Now this basically, this teaching which goes around basically, the confusing people and whatever, it's about, like marriage, okay, whatever things like about human sexuality. Does the church has all the answers?
Yes, yes.
Show me how, or tell me how.
What in the scriptures and in the magistrate?
You've got God.
In the revelation.
Okay. So let's go to John 15. John chapter 15, begin with verse 11. Okay? John the Gospel, John chapter 15. So this is something of prime importance. Okay?
15 verse 11.
Yes. This is something of prime importance. Either we have all the answers concerning faith and morals, and we just need to grow in the understanding of what it is, or we don't have the answers. So, who would like to read John 15, 11, 17? Okay, listen. I have told you this. What has he told them?
The answers.
I have told you this. Because the chapter begins with I'm the vine, you are the branches. Okay?
Father, if you go to verse 10, he says, if you keep my precepts, if you keep my commandments.
But do we have all the answers?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Very much.
So I have told you this, okay? You can't live apart from me. Without me, you can do nothing. So I have told you this, so that my joy may be in you, and your joy may be complete. Because your joy can only be complete in me. With me. This is my commandment. Remember there, it doesn't say commandments. This is my commandment. He's not saying that they are not commandments. But he's saying that this summarizes everything. Okay? This is my commandment. Love one another as I love you. How do I love you? No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. That word is so key. For one's friends. It's so key here. Who are his friends?
Those who do his will.
Are you sure?
Those who do what he commands.
You are his friends?
Yes.
If we do his will.
If we do Yes.
So listen to who his friends are. I'm not defining his friends. He is defining his friends. Okay? No one has greater love than this. Okay? To lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. So friendship with God is conditional.
Yes.
Not just saying, no, it's conditional. If you do what I command you. Remember, I think maybe sometime back we talked about covenants, okay? Different types of covenants. A covenant of divine commitment and a covenant of human obligation. This is a covenant of human obligation, conditional. If you do what I command you. It's born of the covenant of unconditional love, okay? Divine commitment. Okay? So when God commits himself, we have the obligation to respond. Okay? So, if you do what I command you. Now this is it. I no longer call you slaves, because a slave does not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends because I have told you some things.
No. Everything.
I have told you everything. So, dear Cardinal, we have all the answers. If you are a cardinal in the church and your role is to teach, to sanctify, and to shepherd, you have all the answers concerning that role, concerning that ministry, concerning faith and morals, concerning how humans should understand themselves and their sexuality. We have all the answers. Not because we are very intelligent, but because I have told you everything I have heard from my Father. To say that we don't have the answers is to tower as no, to tower as an ignorant person. You are supposed to teach and you don't know what you must teach. We have, God reveals to us who we are. He reveals himself to us. By doing so, he reveals to us who we are. We know who we are. We know how God made us. We know what he made us for. He has given us the instructions on how to live life. We know the instructions he has given to us. Do we follow them? Sometimes we do, sometimes we fail. But our failure to follow instructions is no reason to declare that we don't know. So it's a lie to say that we don't have all the answers about marriage and about human sexuality. We do. Do we follow them? No. Do we study them and to know them very clearly? We don't have all the answers. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 18. Leviticus. 18. Now here there are some a mixture of moral and legal precepts. Okay? So we have to be aware of this. There are moral precepts and legal precepts. So we have to make the distinction. Okay? So that the moral law is stated, but the legal precepts, okay, the penalties, we don't follow those penalties now. Because they were legal precepts, not moral precepts. But the penalty does not nullify the legal precepts, rather the moral precepts, because we no longer follow the legal precepts of Israel. The moral precept stands, but we no longer follow the legal precepts there. So, chapter 18, Leviticus. So someone read? No, let's read the chapter. Yes, we don't have the answers.
The Lord said to Moses, you mean the very beginning?
No, Leviticus chapter 18.
Yes, it's
Right.
The Lord says,
Yes.
the Lord says,
Yes, okay?
The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and tell them, I, the Lord, am your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you once lived, nor shall you do as they do in the land of Canaan.
Can you read a little bit louder?
In the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. Do not conform to their customs.
Okay, so what does St. Paul say in Romans 12, verse 1 and 2? Yes, what does St. Paul say? Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. What does he say?
Do not conform yourself.
Romans chapter 12.
Got it?
What does he say? Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2.
Sacrifice your body and mind. I urge you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, your spiritual worship. Do not conform yourselves to this age, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may discern what is the will of God.
How many centuries are there between Paul and Moses?
Centuries.
Maybe.
Okay, so you see, these are things that are not new. So what is God telling them there and there? Do not conform to their customs. Okay, let's continue.
I guess.
My decrease.
Many parts?
No. We are back to Leviticus.
Oh, we're back to Leviticus.
Yes.
Okay, my decrees you shall carry out, and my statutes you shall take care to follow. I, the Lord, am your God. Keep then my statutes and decrees, for the person who carries them out will find life through them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach a close relative to have sexual intercourse. I am the Lord. You shall not disgrace your father by having intercourse with your mother. She is your own mother. You shall not have intercourse with her. You shall not have intercourse with your father's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your father.
We don't have all the answers. Okay?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh my God. You shall not have intercourse with your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether she was born in your own household or born elsewhere. You shall not have intercourse with your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for that would be a disgrace to you. You shall not have intercourse with the daughter whom your father's wife bore to him in his household, since she too is your sister. You shall not have intercourse with your father's sister, since she is your father's relative. You shall not have intercourse with your mother's sister, since she is your mother's relative. You shall not disgrace your father's brother by having sexual relations with his wife, since she too is your aunt. You shall not have intercourse with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. You shall not have intercourse with her. You shall not have intercourse with your brother's wife. That would be a disgrace to your brother. You shall not have intercourse with a woman and also with her daughter, nor shall you marry and have intercourse with her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. They are related to her. This would be shameful. While your wife is still living, you shall not marry her sister as her rival and have intercourse with her. You shall not approach a woman to have intercourse with her while she is her menstrual uncleanness. You shall not have sexual relations with your neighbor's wife, defiling yourself with her. You shall not offer any of your offspring for immolation to Molech, thus profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not lie with male as with a woman. Oh boy, as such as a thing is an abomination.
We don't have the answers.
Yeah. You shall not have sexual relations with an animal, defiling yourself with it. Nor shall a woman set herself in front of an animal to mate with it. That is perverse. Do not defile yourselves by any of these things, because by them the nations whom I am driving out of your way have defiled themselves. And so the land has become defiled, and I have punished it for its wickedness, and the land has vomited out its inhabitants. You, however, must keep my statutes and decrees, avoiding all these abominations, both avoiding all these abominations, both the natives and the aliens resident among you. Because the previous inhabitants did all these abominations, and the land became defiled. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out also for having defiled it, just as it vomited out the nations before you. For whoever does any of these abominations shall be cut off from the people. Heed my charge, then, not to observe the abominable customs that have been observed before your time, and thus become impure by them. I, the Lord, am your God.
Okay.
This is better than that Stephen King book she's reading. She's got it all.
Have you ever read that chapter in your life?
Yes.
Probably.
I think I ran across it over the past couple of weeks.
We don't have the answers.
It's just a matter of where to find them.
Okay, so, and of course we can go to Ephesians, okay? I've made known the wisdom, okay? The fullness of the mystery. So we have the answers. Okay? Don't think that our generation is more psychologically, socially more complex. Listen what they're saying over there. Humans don't need another new day to learn how to sing. Our ingenuity in sinning has already been. There's nothing new under the sun. So for us to think that we have discovered new things about sinning, and maybe they may be right, go back there. All these abominable things have been done before, because the devil is evil. He's not just growing in evil, he's just evil. So if we're in his quarters, he will make us do all these abominable things. And we have the answers to what we should be and live as humans.
Because of that verse of chapter 15, John 15:15, would it be right to connect it to the saying that the catechism is infallible? I mean, there's other reasons why it's infallible, but is it right to connect that?
No, basically,
No?
which one? Which one to be?
Well, where it says, because it says, where Jesus says specifically, I've
Yes.
told you everything.
Yes.
Well, in order to have everything, it has to be infallible, because that means that there's...
No, basically
any
every
contradictions.
magisterial teaching, official teaching, is what we call part of the deposit of faith. A particular document may not deal with the totality of the truth, okay, but a particular aspect of the truth. But once it's declared a magisterial teaching, like the catechism, it is part of the deposit of faith.
But all of that came from Christ, because he told us everything, right? Not all
Because
of it.
faith is God's gift to us. There's nothing about faith and morals that is a creation of humans.
Right.
It
So
is.
it would be okay to connect that to the infallibility.
As long as it is a magisterial teaching and the declaration is that it is intended to be a magisterial teaching.
But everything in here is a magisterial
Yep.
teaching,
Yep.
right?
Read page 5, go to page 5 of that catechism.
But I know that's what I believe, because we read that before. I'm not doubting it, I'm just asking. I'm confirming it right
Between that book
Okay, page 5 of the catechism and go to the paragraph 3.
now. Yeah.
Okay, so what that Pope John Paul say?
The Catechism of the Catholic Church, which I approved.
Okay, so listen to that, okay? Read louder.
The Catechism of the Catholic Church, which I approved June 25th last, and the publication of which I today order by virtue of my apostolic authority.
By virtue of my apostolic authority, meaning that I am Peter teaching by the authority of Christ.
Is a statement of the Church's faith of Catholic doctrine attested to or illuminated by sacred scripture, the apostolic tradition, and the Church's magisterium. I declare it to be a sure norm
Okay,
of
that's it.
teaching the faith.
That's that. A sure norm, a sure rule. There is no doubt. Okay, so that's it.
And she's asking what's the difference between this one and translation?
Well, that is a little, that's explained. So like, this is basically the same teachings, but this is basically, adapted okay, to a classroom setting, a teaching session, whereby you will see conversations and then, sometimes questions for study and things like that. But it's basically the explanation of the same faith.
It's just a different format.
Yes, it's a format where it's like a classroom format.
Textbook explaining what it means.
It's like a catechetical format in the classroom setting. But the same,
I just never read it.
but the same material. Yes. We didn't take a break. Let's take a break.
Rolling, baby.
We pulled out the food, we put it out there, what more do you want?